We all want to pay less taxes in retirement. The question is, how do we do that? This video is going to show you 3 ways to reduce taxes on your retirement income and help you have a better understanding of how the tax code works as it pertains to your retirement income. Hi, I'm Troy Sharp, CEO of Oak Harvest Financial Group, certified financial planner professional, host of the Retirement Income Show, and author of the upcoming book, Core 4. So when we talk about retirement income, there is no retirement without income. And we don't want to pay more in tax than we necessarily have to. And so we see tons of mistakes when prospective clients are coming in to see us for the first time when we look at their portfolio and how it's constructed and some of the side effects that it's causing other income to be taxed. And we're going to get into 3 ways today of how you can fix that. Behind me, before we have any discussion about taxes and your retirement income, we have to understand the environment that we're in. So this is the U.S. debt clock. It's a real-time tracking of the national debt and many other aspects of debt. We have total interest paid, we have U.S. total debt. What I want to focus on up here though is the U.S. national debt, $22,306,985,000,000 and 800,000 and counting. Whenever companies bring me in to speak to their employees about retirement, or if I'm getting hired to do public speaking, or if we're putting on our own events here, we put on a lot of our own events, I like to ask the audience a question, and that is, how long ago was a trillion seconds? Someone will inevitably raise their hand and say, 30 days ago. Someone else, 100 years ago. Well, a trillion seconds was closer to 32,000 years ago. So if you started trying to count to a trillion, 1,000, 2, 1,000, it's going to take you almost 32,000 years to get there. So when we understand how much national debt we have, 22 trillion, it's just an unfathomable number. Then we understand that it's possible, even likely, that taxes are going to be higher in the future. So the challenge that the country faces is every day, more than 10,000 people go on to Medicare. And Medicare is a mandatory expense. It's constitutionally mandated to be paid along with interest on the debt, Social Security, some other entitlement programs. And since we're an aging population and more people are going on Social Security and Medicare, the mandatory side of the annual budget is continuing to expand and expand and expand. As a matter of fact, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, expects by 2027 that the mandatory side of the budget to total about $4.3 trillion. That's astronomical. Not only are we concerned that taxes are going to be higher in the future, but as a certified financial planner professional, it's my job to put my clients in the best position possible to succeed, and part of that responsibility means paying less taxes on your retirement income. Now, you don't cheat the tax code, that's not what this is about, but it's about being smart, about being intelligent, about how we're taking our income so we can pay the least amount of tax possible. Under current tax law, in 2026, rates are going up. So President Trump passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. That reduced income tax rates and also widened the brackets. All this means is that you can take more money out of your accounts and have more income and pay less taxes than any time in a very, very long time. But that's going away in 2026. So we do know taxes will be higher then, and it's quite possible when we look out into the future, 2030, 2035, 2040, that because of this national debt and the way it's expanding and growing, that taxes could be much higher. So income tax planning, retirement income planning, it's a very critical part to a successful retirement. We're going to go through some case studies and some examples so you can have a better understanding of how the tax code works as it pertains to your retirement income. So we have some case studies up here. The first one we're going to look at, this is a pretty common situation here. This ordinary income, $15,000. That's bond interest. Traditional advice is put 60% of your money in stocks, 40% of your money in bonds. Bonds generate interest, and if they're held outside of your retirement account, you have to pay tax on that interest. So ordinary income of $15,000. This couple has an IRA distribution of $15,000. They have qualified dividends of $20,000 and total Social Security of $60,000. So this is $110,000 of retirement income. And the total tax paid here, $4,367. This shows you, under the new tax code, if you have $110,000 of retirement income in this particular order, ordinary income, IRA distributions, dividends, and Social Security, your effective tax rate is only 4.36%, 4.37 if you round up. That's an historically low effective tax rate, and that means there could be some opportunity for planning here. But before we get into planning, I want to compare this to what we often see when a prospective client first comes in to sit with us. They may be working with an accumulation phase advisor, or maybe they're self-managing their own money, or maybe they've never had an advisor, they just have some different investments. This is very common. So here we have the base case. It's everything we just looked at, 4.37% income taxation. Nothing has changed over here except the two parts I've highlighted here, the $10,000 in long-term capital gains and the $6,000 in short-term capital gains. So what this could represent stocks that were sold, bonds maybe that were sold for a gain, but often what we see is that mutual funds, when they're held outside of the retirement account, the capital gains that the mutual fund incurs passes through to you, and you're responsible for all the actions from a tax standpoint of the mutual fund manager. So not only when you buy the mutual fund and then if you sell it for a gain, do you have to pay capital gains tax, but over the course of the year, if the manager's in there buying and selling stocks and the market's going up, those gains get passed through to you, and they can go on your tax return, causing other income to be brought into taxation, or for you to pay more tax than you were otherwise planning. So this is just an additional $16,000 of capital gain. That's the only difference here. But notice that the adjusted gross income from the base case goes up $30,000. Well, how is that? How can our adjusted gross income go up $30,000 if the only difference is we've had $16,000 in gains? Well, the answer is it causes more of your Social Security to be taxed. You see, in the base case, we had $60,000 of Social Security per year, husband and wife. Only $36,000 of it was subject to income taxation. But because this $16,000 of gains occurred, it brings $50,000 of your Social Security into taxation. That's almost the maximum amount allowed. Also, many people aren't aware, but there is a 0% tax bracket for long-term capital gains and also dividends. So what happens here is these gains pass through to you, cause more of your gains and dividends to be taxed than they were previously. So not only is more Social Security being subject to taxation, but now you have more long-term gains and dividends being subject to taxation. Ultimately, this means an extra $4,000 roughly in income taxes simply for having $16,000 of capital gains pass through to you. So the first way to reduce taxes on your retirement income is to be very aware of investment placement and investment selection. Which financial tools are you using outside of your retirement account? If you have bonds, they're taxed at ordinary income tax rates. If you have mutual funds, well, those mutual funds pass through capital gains taxes. They could be short-term, they could be long-term, but often they also pass through income distributions that could be subject to ordinary income tax as well. So mutual funds are very hard to plan around if you have them outside of your retirement account for income tax planning. So be aware of where you place your financial tools, inside the IRA or outside of the IRA, and also which tools that you're using. The second example that I want to go through here is exactly similar to the one we just looked at. The only difference is we increased the IRA distribution from $15,000 to $25,000. So what this does now is it jumps the income taxation up to $11,203. It makes $51,000 of your Social Security subject to taxation, but also it pushes a much larger amount of your dividends and capital gains into the taxable bracket, and very few are left in between this 0% long-term capital gains bracket. So not having a clear understanding of how the rest of your income is impacted by little decisions. Let's say this was somebody who just wanted to go on to a vacation and they said, you know what, tax rates are lower under this new tax law, we're going to take $10,000 out of the retirement account. Well, that decision effectively costs 30%, costs $3,000, because taking an additional 10 grand out of the retirement account caused an additional $3,000 in taxes. Now it's not $3,000 on that. What happened was it caused a little bit more of your Social Security to be taxed and more of your dividends to get bumped into the 15% bracket out of the 0% bracket. So being aware of the income sequencing and where you're taking your income from is very critical as well. Now, that's kind of a bonus one, but it ties in very closely to the first one as far as being aware of where you place your investments, which accounts, and the types of tools that you're using and the tax characteristics of those tools. So the second way to reduce taxes on your retirement income is to think a little bit outside the box, because traditional asset allocation in retirement is 60% stocks, 40% bonds. Well, the problem with bonds in an increasing interest rate environment is that bonds go down in value. So bonds can be a very inefficient tool when interest rates are increasing, like we've seen over the past 5 years. So thinking outside of the box, if we can use something like a fixed annuity or a fixed indexed annuity, if you're a conservative investor and you simply want your principal protected, fixed indexed annuities give you 100% principal protection, and they allow you the opportunity for potentially double-digit returns. They're designed to average somewhere between 4 to 6%, the very best growth ones out there, but they have a very unique characteristic when it comes to income tax planning. See, the gains are tax deferred. So here's a new example. We have the base case here, the very original base case, and what we've done is this $500,000 portfolio here that we had in bonds, a high-quality bond portfolio, you can make about 2.5%, maybe 3% interest right now. But when you put that inside your non-retirement account, if we go back to the first one here, it creates ordinary income tax. In this scenario here, what we've done is replace the inefficient bond portfolio with the fixed annuity or a fixed indexed annuity that gives principal protection. The fixed annuity it's a guaranteed rate product, so the best fixed annuities right now, you can get about 4% compound interest per year for 5 years. The fixed indexed annuity provides principal protection as well, but gives you the potential to average around 5 to 6% per year, the very best growth ones out there. So by replacing that bond portfolio with a fixed annuity or fixed indexed annuity here, that interest comes off the tax return. Now what happens is your Social Security, now not $36,000 is subject to taxes, only $23,000 is subject to taxes. And just by adding this tax deferred tool in lieu of bonds, it drops our overall income taxation from $4,300 to $1,188. So the fixed annuity not only is a more efficient and versatile tool, I believe, in an increasing interest rate environment, but it has tax planning benefits when used outside of your IRA, which can cause your dividends to go into the 0% bracket, which can reduce the tax on your Social Security, but effectively it's going to help potentially to reduce the overall income taxation that you pay. So if we look here, this is 60/80, this is $95,000 of retirement income with an income tax obligation of only $1,188. That's really cool. So the second way is to consider a tax-deferred tool in lieu of bonds, like a fixed annuity or a fixed indexed annuity, as part of your overall asset allocation. When incorporated into a tax plan, it can have benefits that go beyond just the tax deferral of that tool. So the third way to reduce taxes on your retirement income is to have a proper retirement income plan, sequencing strategy, and also a Roth conversion strategy. So when I sit down with a client and we get to the tax planning discussion of the process, one question has to be answered. Do you want to save taxes today and each year keep taxes down as much as possible? Or do you want to preserve more of your wealth for your family over the course of 20, 30, 40 years and then pass that on for the kids and the grandkids to have security and to create a true family legacy and family wealth? With the current tax law providing us this opportunity of historically low income tax rates, this is an optimal time for many people to be considering a Roth conversion strategy. So before you can decide a retirement income strategy, we have to come up with a retirement income plan. And then once the income plan is in place, then we can start to look at different alternatives for Roth conversions. So this is one of the tools that we use for our clients to help determine what is the appropriate retirement income strategy and what is the appropriate amount to convert to Roth IRAs. So as you can see, there are tons and tons of different retirement income sequencing scenarios. All of them have a different value and a cumulative amount of taxes that are paid. So under this top one right here, pays a little bit more taxes, 1.1 million in taxes over the course of retirement, but it has the highest value. Now, just because it's the number one doesn't mean that it's necessarily the best one for you. It just quantifies the mathematics of different retirement income withdrawal scenarios and Roth conversion scenarios. There's a qualitative aspect that needs to be considered as well, a subjective component. What's most important to you about your money? What's your retirement vision? What are you trying to accomplish in the grand scheme of things? So when you can combine the quantitative and the qualitative analysis of different retirement income scenarios, that's how you get the best combination for you and your family. So understanding retirement income sequencing and Roth conversion strategies can help reduce taxes if you get down here $725,000 in cumulative taxes paid versus 1.19 million. If you look at some of these bottom ones, you're looking at over some of these down here, 1.9, 1.8, 1.6 million in taxes. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra taxes paid by having an inefficient retirement income sequencing strategy. So the way you take income means a big deal in retirement with taxes, but also with how long your portfolio will last. If you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you to share it with friends, share it with family members, send it to a coworker. There's a great opportunity to save taxes with today's tax laws, but your retirement income is very important because without retirement, there is no income. Those are the 3 ways to save taxes on your retirement income. The first one, be aware of your investment placement and which tools that you're using. The second one is to consider, instead of the inefficient bond mutual fund for retirement, adding to the asset allocation a tax-deferred tool for money outside of your IRA, like a fixed annuity or a fixed indexed annuity. And then the third way is to come up with a proper retirement income sequencing strategy that considers Roth IRA conversion, that brings into picture not just the quantitative, the mathematical calculation, but also the qualitative, what's most important to you about your money. So tax planning is just one of the ways that we separate ourselves from our competition here at Oak Harvest Financial Group. A few of the other ways here, if we go to our website, it's oakharvestfinancialgroup.com. I want to introduce you to our Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Chris Paris. Chris has an amazing background. He is an electrical engineer from Georgia Tech. He has an MBA from Harvard Business School. He managed the Invesco Large Cap Opportunities Fund to a national #1 ranking. The Quaker Strategic Growth Fund to a national #2 ranking for both 3 and 5 year periods. So what this does, having Chris and the investment team in-house here, allows us to have a more proactive approach to managing your retirement, because most firms, what they do is they come in, you hire them, but then they outsource your money to a third-party investment manager. And that creates some inefficiency. So if there's opportunities to do tax planning, there's opportunities to maybe customize things, we're not going to just dump you into a model and spread it across all your accounts. We're actually going to have a customized retirement and investment plan for you. Chris is our Chief Investment Officer. He leads our investment team. And this is one of the big ways that separates us from our competition, is being able to manage the money in-house and provide more customized solutions for you and your retirement. If you continue to peruse around the website, on the investment management side, we have a Stock Talk podcast. So this is something that we put out every single week. If you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to go listen to it. You can go back several months and hear what we were thinking, what we were doing in the fourth quarter when the markets were going down of 2018, in the first quarter of this year. We put this out every Friday, and the Stock Talk podcast is more forward-looking, what we're anticipating in the markets and what we're kind of doing behind the scenes. Weekly market updates, we send this out weekly to clients. This comes out on Monday. And this is more looking back, just keeping our clients informed what's happened over the past week in the markets. Also, our first half outlook for 2019, we put this up in January. We put it up in January. Feel free to go on there and see what we were thinking in early January as far as what we were doing for clients. We're going to have the second half outlook up here real soon. If you come over here to resources, we have the Retirement Income Show. You can go on the website and listen to the Retirement Income Show. I've hosted this for the past 9 years on KTRH, 740 AM. And we keep several episodes up on the website for people to stream while you're on the treadmill or you're working out, or maybe you're in the car, or maybe you're just at home. You can log on here and go to the Retirement Income Show and listen anytime you want. So if you enjoyed today's video, please pass it along to a family member, pass it along to a friend, because we all want to pay less income taxes on our retirement income. Some of the next steps you can take are to reach out to us to schedule a visit where we can sit down for about 45 minutes to an hour and simply talk about your retirement income and how we can reduce taxes on it. The phone number to do that is 1-800-822-6434. Visit our website, peruse around. We have educational events over here. You can sign up and register for one of our events. Our headquarters is here at 920 Memorial City Way, Suite 150, but we have 7 satellite offices across the city of Houston, so I'm sure we have an office close to where you're at. The educational events, the Retirement Income Show, great ways to continue the education, and when you're ready to sit down, you don't have to go this alone. You don't have to figure out all the income tax planning and all the investment placement all by yourself. We're here to help, and that's what we do every single day, and we absolutely love it. Thank you for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you soon.